Hello and welcome to the Holistic Success Show. I'm Dr. Robert Puff.
And I'm Elizabeth Lozano.
Today we're going to have a guest talk about self-fullness, which means basically being whole, being successful, and being full.
And we're also going to be watching some clips from Dr. Robert Puff on meditation.
And then our first question is going to be, what happens after divorce? What are we to do?
And then our second question is going to be how stress is related to illness and disease. Thank you so much, and we hope you enjoy this episode of the Holistic Success Show.
What if I could prove to you that meditation could increase your level of internal happiness on a daily, weekly, monthly, yearly basis? You may say, I don't believe you, but I want to talk about a study, and a study that's been repeated, that's been done to show that. First, I want to talk about what's called a set point theory. And what that is we have a set point to happiness. And that's our natural way we interact with the world. And some people tend to be more sad, some people tend to be more happy, and that's pretty much set within inside of us. And the way to prove that is we've done studies on people that have won the lotto, and what we found is, when they win, they're very elated and very excited, but within 6 months, they're back to the level of happiness or sadness they were at prior to winning the lotto. Similarly, people that end up breaking their back and have spinal cord injuries, again, they're very sad at first, it's very tragic, but guess what? In 6 months, they go back to their natural state of happiness. If they had been happy, in 6 months, they're about back to what they were prior to the accident. So we tend to have an internal set point to happiness, and it's pretty set, and it kind of stays with us throughout our lives. However, now I want to talk about a study that was done with a bunch of computer tech people. They'd never meditated before. And what happened with them is they put them in this meditative they taught them meditation, basically. They had to meditate for an hour in the morning and an hour at night for 8 weeks. And then they took Sundays off, so about 6 days a week for 8 weeks. And they said, okay, let's look at their brain and see if there's any form of activity difference compared to a control group. Because what they found is that happier people, their left side of the brain is more active. And with sad people, the right side of the brain is more active. And that's a pretty demonstrable thing you can prove. Okay, the left frontal lobe, to be technical, is more active when you're happy, and when you're not happy, it's just not as active. So they took these computer people, these techie people, and they never meditated before. And they went ahead and they put electrodes on their brain, and they found out what their set point was. Okay, so they had to meditate for 8 weeks, and guess what? At the end of that 8 weeks, their left frontal brain was much more active than the group that hadn't meditated for 8 weeks. So actually what it demonstrated, that meditation made them happier. And then even at a deeper, more exciting level, what happened was they got a hold of some people that had been meditating for decades. They're in monasteries and just, they were meditating gurus. And they said, let's look at their brain. Is their brain very active or is it very slow? What they found is fascinating. The left part of the brain, the part that correlates with happiness, guess what? It was off the scale. They had never seen so much activity in their happy part of their brain. So they kind of said, wow, these guys must be pretty happy campers, the best way I can put it. And I think that's why I want to really show that studies are showing that meditation, even after just 8 weeks, can improve your level of happiness. So think about that, and perhaps say, hey, I'm going to learn more about meditation. And I'm going to learn to meditate because I want to be happier. And again, personally, if I may share, I've meditated now for almost 3 decades. And from when I started, and people that know me can verify this, to where I'm at now, I am so much more of a happier person on a very consistent basis. It's not that bad days don't come, but meditation keeps me grounded, it keeps me peaceful, and it really adds to depth and happiness to my life.
And now it's time for our questions. Our first question comes to us from Tanya F. from Tulsa, Oklahoma. And she asks, I am recently divorced and feel like my whole world is falling apart all around me. What are some tips that you can give me to get through this without falling apart completely?
Well, first off, Tanya, I'm very sorry. Divorce is a very, very difficult thing that we often go through. And many marriages do end in divorce. First off, I'm just very sorry for what you're going through, because it is going to be difficult. There's no way of getting around that. Death is like a divorce. There's going to be a grieving, there's going to be anger, there's going to be a lot of emotions coming up inside of you. And, I think just knowing that it is difficult can help a little bit. Being around supportive people that help you is very important.
And there are also support groups too for people who have recently been divorced, because to know that you're not the only person struggling with some of these emotions can be very helpful. But
there's really two parts of divorce I think I want you to be aware of, Tanya. Any of you, there are relationships ending or something's ending in your life. The first is, okay, how do I first heal from this? And the second one will be, and how do I move forward? So the first one is healing. And I think it's very important. There's going to be hurt there's going to be anger there, and you need to be getting that stuff out of you. It's like a cut. I often use an analogy. If I get a cut here, and a divorce is like a really bad cut, I need to rinse that cut out. I need to wash it very vigorously, and then it will heal, and ultimately a scar will be left, but I'll feel better. If you don't do that, you're going to have to cover it up, shoot Novocaine into it, painkillers, which are our addictions that we turn to not feel pain. It's going to turn to gangrene, and it's ultimately going to kill you. So you have to treat the divorce. There is pain there. Our favorite is what we call anger work. We have a book called Anger Work, How to Express Your Anger and Still Be Kind. But it's about healing. How do you heal? We have spent 30 decades combined helping people heal around the world. And the way you heal is you have to get those feelings up. There's two feelings that heal. If you watch little kids, what do? They get angry or they get sad when something upsets them. So you need to spend time being angry, not at your ex, but at anger work, taking it out on inanimate objects, talking to people, support groups like Elizabeth said. Or you need to be sad about it, allowing yourself to feel the tears. But the trick tell the trick on this sadness part, that one.
Well, it's just that you let yourself cry. You let yourself feel those emotions when you feel that, but you don't follow those thoughts of because it can lead to depression when we just have the thoughts add on to each other, because then it's like, I'm feeling so sad, I'm so horrible, I'm going to be alone forever for the rest of my life, and nobody wants me, and whatever other things it's amazing how it just sticks together, and you really have to be careful with that. Let yourself cry, let yourself feel that emotion, let yourself be angry, but, don't dwell on those thoughts, those negative thoughts, because that's not going to help you heal at all. And as Dr. Peff was saying earlier in regards to being careful with the addictions can come in many forms that we're trying to cover ourselves up. It can be drinking, it could be sex, it could be another relationship that you just jump into right away, and maybe one relationship after the next, because we get that high when we're in a new relationship. You don't have to feel that pain anymore.
Pushes the pain away. Yeah.
And you need to feel that pain, which I know is we want to run away in the other direction from it, but you're not going to heal that way. You need to allow yourself, just like when somebody dies that you're close to. I know when I lost my close family member, there was times I would just break down and I'd start wailing, and my neighbors probably thought I was nuts or losing it, but it helped me heal so much, and then after each time I cried, I felt a little bit better, and maybe it was every day at first, maybe it might be that way for your divorce, but then slowly but surely, maybe it might be a couple times a week, then maybe it's once a week, and then just goes gradually, and letting that anger out too. There's many ways for you to do that.
Can I share an example of that? The person who I had the longest relationship before my wife was my high school sweetheart, and we ended up breaking up. I'll just say she made some bad choices, and I was very angry over the choices she made, because I thought we were going to spend our lives together. And what I did is, it brought up, of course, sadness, but anger. What I used to do, though, is anytime I got upset over it, I'd go to I had a place where there was a punching bag. There was a gym, and I'd go there, and I'd just, allow myself to be angry at that gym, letting that